Welcome into the Daily Reload. I'm Crash and you're busy. Let's go ahead and get into the shooter news. And we have to talk about the body cam style video game footage that is going everywhere right now. I feel like I'm the only one that's not really that excited about it. I kind of feel left out on an island, but we're going to talk about why that is. It was met with a little bit of controversy. They've responded to that. So we're going to get into everything and cover that all and break it all down for you. There's also some interesting stuff over on their website that I don't think a lot of people have seen yet. So let's go ahead and get right into it. This is the footage that everyone saw yesterday. And just really quickly, it's from a game called Unrecord. It's set to be a tactical shooter where players can expect an immersive and narrative experience. It's going to be a single player shooter with complex dialogues, innovative gameplay mechanics, tough moral dilemmas, and a unique shooting system. And they go on to say the storyline in Unrecord can be compared to a detective novel or a thriller. I, like some of you, was skeptical when I saw this footage. I kind of thought that it looked like a GoPro that was colorized just a little bit, but it actually is a game. We'll get into their response in just a little bit, but I wanted to show you a couple of things that I saw with the gameplay that I thought were just a little bit off. In this first frame, you guys can see that they are leaning, and that's not uncommon in a video game to lean over and look to the left, but in this case, the gun and the camera are both leaning, as you kind of normally see. As you go through this, they take the shots. The recoil and the gun aiming seem like all over the place, and I'm not sure how that's going to play out. And as you go along here into the next clip, you can see that they start out leaning here, but only the gun is kind of leaning, and the camera is almost leaning the other way. And it just seems like the gun is completely decoupled from the camera, and I'm not 100% sure how that would feel. And then in this little bit of a gunfight, you see the gun just absolutely go all over the place. And my first thought when I saw this was first-person shooters are designed the way they are for a reason, so you can kind of shoot where you want to, and that's a little bit of the skill involved. So I'm not sure how that's going to play. The other thing that was a little bit weird to me was how the gun reacted with this pillar right here. When he first moved, he instantly took that down to sweep across the pillar to take the barrel down. And then in some other ones, depending on where they were in relation to it, they acted differently. Later on in this one, they actually brought the muzzle up to come around this pillar when coming up the stairs. Much different than in this case where it was like an almost automatic takedown to come down, but the muzzle didn't go up. And then in other cases, when coming through doors and door jams, this is the only time we ever see the handgun actually come up to sweep across the pillar. Other times it didn't happen. So there were just some inconsistencies that I saw that were just a little bit weird. The other thing that didn't really work for me was the body cam thing itself. It doesn't make a lot of sense from a gameplay standpoint if you're going for realism to be looking at yourself, looking at your own perspective through a body camera. That just makes it kind of weird. It almost just adds a novelty, and it definitely is something that is unique and crazy looking in this footage. But if you think about immersing yourself in a story, if you are actually this detective, you're not going to be looking through a body cam. You're going to be looking through your own eyes. So that was just a little bit weird. It didn't make any sense to me why the protagonist in our story would be looking through their own body cam in real time. And on top of this game being created by a studio and a lead designer that has 0 credits, 0 game releases in the past, it seems pretty crazy to see this just come out as their first foray into the gaming space. This creates a lot of questions, a lot of controversy, and beyond that, some people, even prominent video game figures, think that it looks a little bit too real, with Trainwreck going on to say he's going to get a lot of hate for this, but this level of realism in video games should be heavily moderated in shooters for anyone under a certain age. I hope parents do their job. This level of realism for shooting and killing makes me feel uncomfortable, as if I'm watching a real leak from a military or police operation. The clear distinction between real and fake is necessary, but this level of realism, in my opinion, gives real credibility to the nonsense politicians have been spewing for years about video games conditioning young people to lose a sense of empathy towards violent tendencies and situations. I think he takes it just a little bit too far here. I always give people the benefit of the doubt that they can tell fake from realistic in video games versus real life. The validity that does come from his post to me is a lot of the anti-video game pundits are going to be spewing this footage all over the place in an anti-video game narrative on TV. I can already see it now. In the face of all these questions of people wondering if this is actually a real game or not, Alexander, the co-director of the studio, put out raw Unreal Editor footage of the game where he's moving around, taking shots. You can see the fluidity in the movement of the hands versus the camera and some of the stuff that we thought kind of looked a little off. You can see that in the game, and it makes it look a lot more credible, like this is actually a project in Unreal 5. As I am also excited for something new and innovative in the first-person shooter space, I think there's another couple reasons we should also pump the brakes just a little bit. In response to some of this controversy and some of these questions, the studio drama put out a frequently asked questions questions page with some of the answers to everyone's questions regarding this footage. And when it comes to release and timing, what they said was, "It is rare to see a first game in pre-production with such enthusiasm, and we have adapted our communication logic to an uncontrolled success. We accept our chance and must in turn play the early announcement card. Therefore, there is no release date or even an estimated year of release at this time." As they said, they're currently in pre-production and they're not even willing to nail down a year of when this game will come out. The other thing I saw that made me step back just a little bit was an optimization question. They said, "However, it is possible that older generations of PCs may not have sufficient performance to fully enjoy a next-gen game powered by Unreal Engine 5. So it looks like some of these ultra-realistic and processed graphics might be a little bit tough to run on everyone's machine, which could be another limiting factor in this game. But I definitely don't want it to sound like I'm only hating on this game. Like I said, we always need more innovation and something new in the space, and this is incredibly ambitious and artistic, and I think they did an incredible job with the visuals and getting people interested in this with something different. Just some of the subtleties in the way the camera handles the sky and clipping, and it acts like an actual body cam where it takes a little bit of time to adjust exposure, and that difference in lighting when the camera adjusts and you can see the clouds, or when it adjusts to when you go inside of a building, is pretty cool. So don't get it twisted, guys. I would love to run around abandoned buildings chasing fentanyl addicts just like everybody else. But since we've been burned on projects like this before, I think it's important to take a step back, just watch how this unfolds and enjoy the ride. That's all I had for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day and an awesome tomorrow, and we'll see you on the other side.